Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 welcome. Ah, I forgot. Ah, ugh. All right. We are very late today. We are very, very late today. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. We I'll get into it in a second. As usual, the songs that played us on were first "Out of My League" by The Fit or Fits and The Tantrums. Good song. They have a lot of good songs, and I didn't realize that these were like OG like banger songs. I didn't realize that. Oh, hold on. Audio check. Audio, audio check. Audio check. Audio. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's good. We sound good. Yeah. So first one is the "Out of My League" by the Fits and the Fits and the Tantrums. Yeah, they got a bunch of good songs. A bunch of like good like 2010s, just like bangers. I don't think all their music is like that, but at least a couple of them are very, very, very good. Next is "Adios" by Johnny. This is also very good. I haven't really listened to any much of their other songs, but I do know that at least this one is a banger. And if you want to listen to either of those songs or any of the other songs we have listened to on our show, I just threw a link in the chat to our YouTube playlist in which it has every single song we have played in our intro. About 64 songs in there now, which is kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. I'm starting to get to the point now where I'm just like, have I added this song yet? Because I listen to it so much that I'm like, I probably would have added it by now. And it's like, did I? Did I not? I just don't remember. Anyway, it is Sunday. Sunday, February 8th. That's crazy. First Sunday show of the month. Really? No. Last Sunday show was the first. Second Sunday show of the month. That's crazy. The month's already over. No, it kind of is. We're almost done with February. Like what? We're halfway through. What? What do you mean? What happened? Where am I? Who am I? I know who I am. My name is Snowy Lotus, and welcome to the Snowy Show. That doesn't work. That don't work. That don't work. All right. Anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Yeah, I'm late. So last night on Saturdays, past couple Saturdays, I've been hanging out with my friends online, and we have been playing Dungeons and Dragons. My one friend had been wanting to do this for a while, and one of my other friends has went off to college and came back up to town, and we were hanging out, we were chatting, and we were like, "Hey, we should do this thing." And we came up with some pretty basic lore of the world, some kind of background of it all, and here we are. About a month or so later, we are in a D&D campaign. One of my other friends, the dungeon master, he has been doing a really good job. He got this program together. He like bought this program, and we've been using it. We have all our characters. We've made all our character sheets and all that. Um, We've been having a ton of fun. Um, we are a group of adventurers that have come to the island of Ildris uh, because of a summons that a marquis of a specific region. Uh, the marquis is summoning or hiring mercenaries to fulfill specific tasks, uh, get specific jobs done, do specific things. Uh, there are tensions between this region and the other two regions in on the island. Um, we have a party of three. Added just we just actually added another person last night, so we have a party of four. We have me, which is my character's name is Milvis. Uh, they are a 6 foot tall avian, so a bird person with they are a sorcerer. They use a spear called a cavis. Um, they come from the red Athenium, which is a large mountainous island. It has one of the largest mountain ranges on this world, and the whole island is a essentially a safe haven for avians. There's five large families that are all kind of run the place, and there's a bunch of minor families. Uh, Milvis comes from the Milvis comes from the original family that found the island. There's a bunch more lore, but uh, he in the avian culture, uh, a avian will be born and grow up as a chick, and as a chick, they will be taught in all different forms of uh, like arts. They will be taught different martial arts. They will be taught combat, different magical arts. They will be taught, literature and all different types of um, be taught. Oh, hi, Lily. How are you? Good morning or good night? Good night. Good night. um, yeah. So I'm talking about the D&D can or my Dungeons and Dragons campaign that I'm doing with my friends, and that's why I'm like up. I'm like so late. It ran like 2+ hours longer than it should have. And so I woke up at like 8. No, I woke up at like 9, and I was just sitting there. I'm like, yeah, I can't. I'm just so tired. So I fell back asleep for another like another like 30 or 40 minutes. Um, and I got coffee in me now, so but the my character so um we are on the island of Ildris in this world, and the marquis of a specific region in the north of the island has put out a call for mercenaries to come fulfill specific tasks. And so me and me being Milvis and my two other friends, and actually we just added another person last night. A one person that has already been here was a Cyclops named Hitesh. It's like a 7 foot tall like Cyclops that uses wind magic in their fists, and then Kyrus, which is like a 4.5 foot tall, or I think 3.5 foot tall, like Hobbit. That's like a scholar, and they're part of the Scholars Guild, and they have all types of different knowledge, academic knowledge, and all that. And my character is Milvis. They are a 6 foot tall avian, just like a bird person. They are a sorcerer. They can control wind magic and all the different types of elements, and they use a spear called a cavus. They come from the red Athenium, which is the largest mountain range on the world. The mountain range it's basically just an island because this whole world is archipelagos, and so um, the island is a kind of safe haven for all the avian species. There are five different families, big families that live there, and a bunch of minor families. Milvis comes from the Ryander family, which is the original family that first found the island, first scouted it, and first um, made it habitable and ready for all the other avians. And Milvis is on a pilgrimage, which all avians do once they become of age and they become a fledgling. From birth, they are raised in all different types of arts, different martial arts, different magical arts. They are taught all types of different in all different fields of study. Uh, their main goal is to try to go out into the world once they become a fledgling and collect some sort of information valuable enough for the red athenium, or as they call it, the nest. They are on a pilgrimage to try to find. They scour all over the world um, to find different information that they can bring back to the nest. And once they bring back to the nest, if it's valuable enough and they are part of a family, which I mean, all of them really are, they will be given their family's last name. So right now, Milvis does not have the Ryander's last name, but so he's just Milvis. And whenever he does go back and hopefully brings back valuable information, he will be given that last name, but also his information will be added to the Ryander's Great Library, which has been being built since they first came to the island. Um, and this idea of going out into the world to find information, learn things, document things, the avians have been doing for thousands of years because before they came to the island, they were a nomadic species, but because of different events and different wars, some tragedies that befell the avian species, they needed to put down their nomadic roots or put away their nomadic ways and try to settle down somewhere. And all the five families got together and came to the decision that they needed to find some place to stay rather than being moving all over the place. And so the five great families set out, and eventually the Ryander family found the island. It's a mountainous island with incredibly steep cliffs. So the only creatures that can actually get up to the top of it are avians, which can naturally fly. And they spent some time preparing the island, setting up uh, setting up a base there, essentially colonizing it. There was no other than wildlife. There were no people living here. We're living there. And after enough time, they put the call out to the rest of the families and all the other minor families and saying, "Hey, we're ready. Um, Come to us." And thus began what was called the Great Flight, which was the full migration to the what was named the Red Athenium. The Red Athenium, the red part coming from the Ryander families. The Ryander families red stripes that they have. on them. They're iconic red stripes. It was named after them. Athenium is a another word for a library. So each family has their own library because each family specializes in their own kind of thing. But anyway, yeah. So we are on Ildris to, and the rest of my party is there to fulfill the goals of the Marquis, and Milvis is there to try to find some interesting information. Um, Throughout the adventure so far, he has been constantly documenting as much as possible. He has documented countless different wildlife, countless different species. Um, Last night, he was standing in a cave, uh, and the rest of the party was found a secret entrance to a dungeon in the cave, but Milvis refused to go down at first because he wasn't sure whether he would actually be able to move because he has a pretty big wingspan. So he was standing in the cave waiting for the go ahead. And in the meantime, he was documenting a couple different wildlife. He was documenting a gecko or a lizard that he found in the cave. There was a type of moss growing in the cave too, and he was documenting that. He was documenting some of the rocks that were in there as well. Uh, um, yeah, and he in the avian culture, um, information gathering and information, while I wouldn't call it religious, it is seen as they have a very strong belief in collecting and learning more and new information, uh, and they hold the texts that they have in the same way as some would a religious text. So, but I wouldn't call it a religion. They're just very they're very they're very I don't know what the word is. They care a lot. Yeah, that's they care very very much. And so this is not just a pilgrimage, just a name, but a literal. They are literally on a pilgrimage to obtain obtain enlightenment in a way. Yeah, it ran like a lot longer. Oh, and we actually just added another person, Mung Hao. I think they were a local knight, a local guard that got kidnapped by cultists, and we freed them. Yeah, but it ran till almost like 4 in the morning, and I was like, oh my god, I was sitting there because I was before we started this, I was the campaign that is. I was saying, hey, the latest I can stay up is like 2 o'clock. But then when it went past 2, and then it went past 3, and then it's almost 4, I'm just sitting, I'm like, oh my God. Right? I'm like, oh my God. Mhm. So yeah. Yeah. I was up late, 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 late. Uh but that's fine. I enjoy hanging out with my friends. So it's worth it, I guess. Um, couple. One other thing. Obviously, still working on that Where Winds Meets video. I was hoping I could do more yesterday, but I just didn't have time. I had to do some other like IRL stuff, and that took up the free time I would have had to work on the video. So, you know, we'll get it done eventually. Get it done eventually. Maybe I'll do some of it today. I don't know. We'll see. I might take a nap after stream. Um, Hmm. What else? What else? What else? We have been playing Deadlock like crazy. I want to make videos on it really bad. I really do. But then I'm also like, I just don't know if I'm good enough at the game. I mean, I guess I could just record stuff and see what happens. I guess I could. Like, right. Because the funny thing is most of the games are just so close. They're always so they're always like a couple, like one team fight away from winning or losing. The stakes are always very high, and I mean I like that. I think it's really cool. Sometimes I will say I'm playing the game and I'm like, all right, bro, this character's just straight up broken. This character's just straight up broken. I was playing a game last night and this character used their first ability against me, and and it took about a third of my health. It damaged me to about a third of my health, and they had 3 charges of it so they could just keep spamming it. And I'm just like sitting there looking at them and I'm like, bro, what am I supposed to do? Like, there's nothing I can do in this situation. Now, there realistically, if I understood the game a bit better and I played better, I could have probably done something. But, we're learning. I'm having a ton of fun with it, so we're going to keep playing that. Um and yeah. 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 Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um I actually think my live stream actually did, it has like 17 views, which is kind of crazy. It's like the most that's gotten. Most like a stream has gotten, which is kind of crazy. So that's cool. That's cool. Anywho. We're gonna go ahead, and so what we're gonna be doing today is we're gonna be doing another little Lego build, but it's not really that big of a build. I want to do some sewing, but I need to head to Walmart and I haven't been able to. I haven't been able to. And hopefully, hopefully I can do that this week so that next Sunday, because I'm not going to be doing anything Saturday night. Because Saturday night's Valentine's, but that doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. But just my friend, the dungeon master, he's gonna be preoccupied, so we're not gonna be doing D&D. And then so hopefully next Sunday we can do some sewing. I kind of would like to. I'm gonna look up maybe how to make like a scrunchie. I think we'll do that because I basically have everything, and I will go and grab all my fabric scrap, and we'll see what we can build. See what we can build. See what we can put together, and then and we'll go from there. But today, yeah, we're doing a short Lego build. Then we're gonna read some of this book that I just want to read, but I don't know. I want to read it, but then I'm also like, when do I have time? But then I'm like, I waste so much time scrolling on Twitter. If I just spent like 5 minutes reading rather than scrolling on Twitter, I would get so much further. Oh well. Oh well. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead. I got a couple new soundtracks. Yeah, I got a couple new soundtracks in. We got Risk of Rain 2. Yeah, we got Risk of Rain 2. We also, oh, it's not here now, but I did get I did also get Hades. Hades from Supergiant. I got their soundtrack, the first one, first Hades game. Game's pretty good. I never beat it, but anyway. So yeah, this is gonna be what we're building today. It's like super small, but it's just been sitting in my on my closet for like literally years now. Literally years now. I just haven't I just haven't really I just haven't built it. It's just some Star Wars stuff. It's not really that complicated. It's like Mandalorians. So we're gonna build that. And then we're gonna read a chapter of this, or maybe two. It just depends. It just depends. This is a cool book. It talks about storytelling and how to do storytelling a bit better, which is one of my goals this year. Try to get a bit better at it. Actually, the D&D campaign we're doing is helping at that. It's helping me try to helping me try to forcing me to get better. Yeah, would you fall asleep last week? I'm sorry, I took way too long. I had a feeling because I was like, hmm, it's really late there. I'm like, yeah, just I fell asleep. Okay, all right. This is like, yeah. I think I did see some of those plants you bought, or what one plant you bought. Those are really pretty, really cool. They were pretty cinematic pictures of them too. This is, yeah, I'm a sucker for plants. I mean, obviously, you can tell I'm just it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I mean, like the rest of my room, it's literally everywhere. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but like right there, there's like more plants. There is like more plants. There's over there, plants. I got like more. It's literally everywhere. My whole room. Do I? Yeah, I mean it's just I love them. Love them. Especially faux plants. So I don't have to. I can just look at them. They're pretty. I haven't bought Lego plants yet, mostly because of how expensive they are. But then also I'm like, because I've always seen the Lego or like a Lego bamboo, like Lego bamboo. Pretty sure it's like a yeah Lego bamboo plant. It looks pretty cool. But then also, oh, it's actually just $30. Okay, all right, that's not bad. I thought it was like 80. But yeah, I'm always just like, I don't know. And I actually have been thinking about getting some, because like over here to the right of me, I have my old desk that I bought like years ago. But eventually, because this is like, I mean, this desk we're on is a like a foldable. It's like a foldable desk, and I'm using it. Well, I mean, obviously it's my desk, but it's a lot bigger. And my other one, it was just too small, and I couldn't fit all this garbage I own, all this garbage I own. I couldn't fit it all in there, so I had to move to this desk. And I have been thinking about buying buying a, what's it called? There's like IKEA cube storage. They're like these shelving units, and I have a bunch of them up in my living room. And oh my god, this helps so much. But I would like to buy a bunch and replace my old desk with maybe like four storage sets, and that would give me so much room. That would just give me so much room. So I've been thinking about that, because then I'll be able to start then I'll be able to get more plants just everywhere. More succulents, because I need more. It's like I need more. Not really. So side. Okay, so we're yeah, this is like pretty small, but we're gonna be building. Oh, okay. So this stuff is for the helmets. This. Oh, these are the supposed to be the fabric. Yeah, capes and all that. Oh. These are the capes. Oh, be gone, bot. Be gone. Be gone, bot. Be gone. Exactly. Am I? Come on. You have to like cross these two, and that turns into that. And you put this there. Put it through on the neck, and then you can put the head on and the helmet. But like usual, my hands are a bit too big for this. And we threw the head on. Nah. Wow. And then yeah, we still and then we have our little Mandalorian. See, we're already almost done. We're already almost done. They get a little blaster. They get a little blaster. Pew 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 pew. There you go. There you go. Oh, oh. Okay, and yeah, that was like a bunch of characters. Okay. Let's grab all these guns, heads. That, this, and then you know, there's one more. I had four. Okay, sure. This one. What the? Where, where's this thing at? I can't argue with this. No, I just messed up. This is a me problem yet again. I guess this doesn't it doesn't really matter what they go on. It doesn't really matter what leg they go on. Because I mean, yeah. There we go. Put another head on here. That wow. Wow. Look at this cape. Wow. Throw a little antenna thing on him. Putting it on wrong. Am I? I am. Okay. Wow. 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 Look at that. I think they all get guns. Oh. Those. mind you, this is a build that like a 5-year-old can do. So me struggling with this, you know, it doesn't indicate anything. It means nothing. Okay. All right. This means nothing. It shows nothing. Uh, he's got a little visor. Okay. Like, I don't know. Maybe we'll find one once we get everything else built. Ah, he's got a gun. Whoa, 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 whoa! Stop. um. Okay. That on. Helmet on. Another little antenna. I think I'm out of antennas. What's that? I don't think. Oh, no, here, hold on. I have found one. We have 4 Mandalorians. 4 Mandalorians. Wow. Wow. Crazy. Ugh. Hold on. There you go. Wow. Look at that. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're making is the speeder. The speeder bike. Speeder bike. Speeder bike. Simple, simple, simple. Flip it back over. Put this here. And then put this on. Oh, nope. I did it wrong. I already. Huh? Oh, I put it on backwards. Yeah. Boba got me again. Boba. He got me. He scratched me. I haven't been able to cut his nails. What I was thinking of doing is basically just getting a blanket and just like turning him into a burrito, and then and then cutting his nails. That way, because the problem is it's not that I can't cut it, it's that he just squirms so much. I can't I can't uh you know can't get him to stay still, because like I don't want to cut too deep, or like not cut at all, because before I was cutting one nail, but I didn't cut it all, and then I had to go back because I'm like, I don't want to leave it like half cut, right? You want to make sure it's like a clean cut. Uh, 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 right. Okay, put that blue thing into this gray thing, and then this red thing. Red thing goes onto there. then that goes on to the back there. So yeah, back of the speeder bike. Um, where oh, oh, this and this. Put those two together. Where'd this come from? That goes right here. And then this piece go onto it. These blocks are so much better than the than that, than that Halo one. There you go. They just immediately just click in. But I was talking to one of my friends, and my friend was saying that I guess the newer Mega Blocks are a lot better. So I don't know. I don't usually buy this stuff. This is all this is all just gifted. So, which I appreciate. My one other friend, he's a big Lego guy. I've gone to his room and he has just tons of like big Star Wars builds. He's also a big Star Wars fan. So he has like tons of big Star Wars Lego builds. Um, now, obviously, when I was younger, I did like Legos a lot more. If they weren't as expensive, I might do it some more. But you know, we got this. We got this. Put that angular thing on the side right there. Then we put that little vent right there. And then we do it on the other side as well. Music playing, okay. Uh, turn it down my end. Other side. Then we add some pins. Spin this one. There you go. Wait a minute. Okay. We have that part and that. get it, but all right. And then those go on the sides right here. Oh, oh there it is. Did I already lose a part? Oh, I see where they gotta be angled. I see why they gotta be angled now. Take those fins off, put these on, and then I'll put them back on. Yep. So now I need that. Oh, here we go. There must be
I never felt like so miserable. I never knew I'm thinking this will last forever. Baby, stay with me. You gotta say no, you're not frozen over me. I never felt like so different now. It doesn't seem
Side.
like we've been far apart, so your life. My life will turn now. It doesn't seem like it will last for my life.
back there.
Smile the moon, the hell looks in your eyes. Just dialing your number. Say to prayers to last you. Praying my heart will reach your stars. If you hold me tight, feel your
Got
heart
the
is so close. Will this last long?
Right in the back. This back here. And then
My life will turn now.
get that angled piece.
Like that. Just give me something that proves you're not fooling. Just give me. You gotta tell me you're not fooling me. My life will turn now. It's so cruel. Just give me something that proves you're not fooling. This is so real. Just tell me you're not fooling me. Once that smiling moon, your hair looks in your eyes. If I
That
could
on there.
ever tell you that, wouldn't I feel so weak?
There goes
Rain my
here.
heart when moons reach the stars. You won't leave me again. If I could ever tell you that, you would not
A little
leave
light on
me.
front.
Once that smiling moon,
And we need another
in your
angled
eyes,
piece.
I need your smile so close. I was thinking of you.
Downward.
Up in the sky high, the moon
Front right there.
reaches stars. If you hold me tight,
Get the handlebars.
your heart is so close. Will this last long?
Damn, look at this whole part. It's fantastic. those things on the front of that. But you can shoot them. You can shoot them. That's all right. That's cool. All right. Wow. Wow. We're getting so fancy. That's crazy. I can't put it back on. Here we go. That's so fancy. You can. Ugh. Oh, oh, watch out. Watch out. Watch out. Oh, wait, you're getting. Oh, no, you got shot. All right. That's enough horsing around. Don't shoot at someone's eye. Don't do it. See it? See, it says don't shoot it. Do not shoot at someone's eye. Do it. Don't do it. Which piece is that? This. Um, over Yeah, the largest Lego build I've probably ever built was a Star Wars walker. Not like the big kind, but the six-legged kind. Forgot what they were called. But that was probably the biggest one. I don't know where. I don't know where it's at. I don't think I have it anymore. That was probably the biggest one that I built. Brown part on there. Put another slope. Oh, three slopes. There. Maybe that walker took me hours and hours and hours. We got these three slopes. Problem with that build was it just kind of kept falling apart because there were so many moving parts. Stuff would just keep falling apart. And so you can't really play with it, otherwise it would just fall. There. Listen, a slanted. Right there. I don't know what we're building. I'm gonna be honest. I have no clue what we're building. Like I looked at it in the picture and I just don't know what it is. It's just like a bunch of rocks, I guess. I I don't know. This. Oh. think a piece just is it? No, not at all. So we got those three slanted right here. Oh, and that's it. That's it. Okay. All right. That's it. We're done. Like I said, quick build, quick build. Uh, Ah, oh, wow. Wow, look at that. Uh, uh, uh. Yeah, that's fast. Yeah, wow, look at that. Yeah, this is like a super, super small. I have like a bunch of. Yeah, it was, and like I knew this was gonna take like no time. It's 2020. That's when I got gifted it. Oh, that's the Skywalker Saga, the game. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, super fast, not complicated. Just we built it. I don't. Anyway. Anywho, here. Anywho, anyway, anyhow. Put all these characters around here. Yeah, it didn't take as many hours as the last one. Thankfully. Thankfully. Okay. We're gonna read some of this book. So this is Storyworthy. Engage, teach, persuade, and change your life through the power of storytelling by Matthew Dix. And so far we are on page 26. I just finished this. He's gone through and told about his story with storytelling, how he kind of got into it. Uh, yeah, I guess there's a I guess there's like a storytelling place you can go to up in New York called the Moth Grand Slam. And so a bunch of people come from all over the world and tell stories. I guess it's like a podcast too. I don't know. And he was saying that his wife got him, convinced him. No, no, no. It was something that his friends convinced him to do. And he kept saying that he's going to do it, he's going to do it, but he never did it because he has had a very wide, very eventful life. And so his friends thought that he would be a good storyteller. And I guess even before going here, even before meeting his wife, he was a good storyteller. It might just be like a natural thing he's good at. But this book kind of goes through the whole process of how he does storytelling, and how I could do storytelling, how you can do storytelling, to better connect with people. And in this first chapter, he kind of goes through talking about how he originally met his wife and how storytelling needs to be not just a recounting of events, but it needs to talk about vulnerability. It needs to you need to talk about what they say in here. Where is it? Never be self-deprecating or revealing. So he talks about how storytelling, like some might think about it. Oh, I'm on chapter 2. Some might like fables, talking about fables and folk tales. Uh, those types of storytellings, while they are stories, the storyteller cannot be vulnerable in those stories. They cannot reveal parts about themselves. And while sometimes they can, folk tales and fables are more life lessons, and the storyteller, whilst it is entertainment, they are just reciting. Um, they aren't telling people about themselves. They aren't revealing vulnerabilities. They aren't as he describes previously in here. They don't show all the warts. All the warts. They don't show all their blemishes because they're just reciting a story. But to really connect with people is to open up yourself to vulnerability. We tell stories to express our hardest, best, most authentic truths. This is what brings thousands of people to hear stories as theaters and bars every night in cities all over the world. Where are we at? They want the real deal. They want the kind of stories that just make them fall in love with the storyteller. As we prepare to embark on this journey together, keep in mind there's a few requirements to ensuring that you're telling a personal story. And so, yeah, this next section is he goes into there's a difference. He talks about how there's a difference between saying, "Hey, I went to," there's a couple different types of stories. Oh yeah, he goes into it. I'll just keep reading. Stop talking. Stop talking. Just read. Change. Your story must reflect change over time. A story cannot simply be a series of remarkable events. You must start out as one version of yourself and end as something new. The change can be infinitesimal. It need not reflect an improvement in yourself or your character, but change must happen. Even the worst movies in the world reflect some change in a character over time. It, oh, am I not? Is it not catching? Is it? Can you hear me? Am I not? Hold on. Let me make sure. I want to make sure that because make sure my mic's in my face. Yeah, the change can be infinitesimal. It need not reflect on improvement in yourself or your character, but change must happen. Even the worst movies in the world reflect some change in a character over time. So must your story. Stories that fail to reflect change over time are known as anecdotes, romps, drinking stories. Okay, cool. Vacation stories. They recount humorous, harrowing, or even heartfelt moments from our lives that burned brightly but left no lasting mark on our souls. There's nothing wrong with telling these stories, but don't expect to make someone fall in love with you in a Chili's restaurant by telling you one of these stories. The Chili's restaurant he's referencing that was originally his him and his wife's like unofficial first date, and he goes on to explain that during a conversation him and his wife and someone else was having, his wife was saying that's when she started falling in love with him was at this Chili's. So that's what he's referencing there. Where are we at? All right. Yeah, don't expect. Yeah, it, don't expect someone to fall in love with you in a Chili's restaurant by telling one of these stories. Don't expect people to change their opinions on an important matter or feel more connected to you through these stories. These are the roller coasters and cotton candy of the storytelling world, supremely fun and delicious, but ultimately forgettable. So then he goes on Matt's 5 rules of drinking stories. The first rule is no one will ever care about your drinking stories as much as you. The second rule Drinking stories never impress the type of people who one wants to impress. Okay. Third rule. If you have more than 3 excellent drinking stories from your entire life, you are incorrect in your estimation of an excellent drinking story. um, Rule 4. Even the best drinking stories are seriously compromised if told during the daytime and or at the workplace. Yeah, so drinking stories can only be told drinking. You can only really have one good drinking story. If you have more than one, you don't really have a good drinking story. Uh, Rule 5. A drinking story about a moment when you were over the age of 40 is often sad, pathetic, and even tragic, except under the following circumstances. It is absolutely your best drinking story of all time, or the storyteller is over 70. Drinking stories about the elderly are acceptable in any form because they are rare and oftentimes hilarious. All right. So the rules for drinking stories is you can only really have one good one. You can't really tell it anywhere else. The only place you can tell it is while drinking. If it's a story about you being in your over 40, cut it. It's not good. But if you're in your 70s and you're talking about it, yeah, it's fine. Okay. So, Matt's 3 rules for vacation stories. First rule. No one wants to hear about your vacation. Oh my god. Okay. 2, if someone asks to hear about your vacation, they're being polite. See rule 1. Okay. Um Okay. 3, if you had a moment that was actually story worthy while you were on vacation, that is a story that should be told, but it should not include the quality of the local cuisine or anything related to the beauty or charm of the destination. Okay. All right. So vacations, you should focus on the actual, basically what he's saying is when talking about a vacation, you should focus on the actual thing that happened rather than, oh, it was really nice. All the food was great. It was really nice. The weather was great, right? Focus on the actual tangible event. Um, do I have a vacation story? No, I don't. Do I? Yes, I think I do. So this was a couple years ago. My dad's side of the family, he lives in a different state. He actually lives in the state next to ours. And in the region of the United States we're in, it is very, very mountainous. We are, okay, I'm not going to say anymore. It's mountainous. I'll say that. And, actually, no, it wasn't in the state. It was actually in my state. So we went down south because there was a big lake we wanted to go fishing at. We went there over the 4th of July. We took basically that. I think we took the whole week off. Yeah, we took the whole week off. This is one of the first times we've ever taken that much time off. And so we rented what do you call it? We rented a camper van. So it was like a big van we could sleep in. There was like 3 different places to sleep. There was a bed, there was a top cot, and you could turn the table also into a bed. Um, and we went there. It was great. We had a ton of fun fishing. We rented a fishing boat. We had a ton of fun. It was nice to just be able to relax. But there was also times when we needed to leave the camping area to go grab food. But because this is out in the rural area of where I live, there's not really much. So you have to drive a ways to actually get there. And instead of instead of doing the smart thing and following the highway, we decided to go the other way. And what happened was it took us up and down extremely steep and extremely extremely steep hills. so we were going up these extremely steep hills and going down extremely steep hills in this like old camper van, and they were also extremely like narrow roads that were extremely there was very short turns you had to make constantly, and it was harrowing. I will say that. But I did see. Well, there was one specific scene I remember seeing. It was a field. It was a field covered in fog that was absolutely breathtaking. It was amazing. It was a field. We were coming down a hill, and it was a field that you could see the tree line opened up, and it was just like covered in fog. Um, but we were going up and down these extremely steep hills, and I was honestly a little bit scared. But my dad, he's had a lot of experience driving in this type of terrain because this is the type of terrain he grew up in, so he's used to it. Um, I was very much worried though, because we were trying to go to a store so we could go get s'mores, and you know, I'm not too sure why we chose to go to the back roads. I think we thought it was quicker. It wasn't quicker. I'll say that. It wasn't quicker. It wasn't quicker at all. I don't think we went back that way. But it was pretty late at night. No, it wasn't super late because there was still light out because I could see the field, but it was getting dark too, so that also didn't help. But I don't go on vacations too much. 'Cause work. Anyway, but those types of I guess that type of story where it's a tangible event happening to you, that's the best type of story to tell, rather than just basic facts of your area, basic facts of the location. uh, it has to be tangible. It has to vulnerability. It has to hold on, he says it in here. um, Yeah. So he also says, let's be clear that when I talk about storytelling, I'm speaking about a personal narrative. True stories told by people who lived them. This is very different than the traditional fable or folktale that many people associate with the word storytelling. While folktales and fables are entertaining and can teach us about universal truths and important life lessons, there is power in personal storytelling that folktales and fables will never possess. There's a specific part where he's talking about vulnerability. Where is it? Yeah, I have never listened to someone tell a folk tale and felt more deeply connected to the storyteller as a result. I may have loved the story and admitted the storyteller's skills and expertise. I might have been highly entertained, but I've never felt that I knew the storyteller any better at the end of the story. The storyteller who tells folktales and fables is a highly developed, highly skilled delivery mechanism, often more entertaining than television, video, or YouTube, but never revealing, vulnerable, or authentic. Folktales and fables don't require vulnerability. And so that's one of the main things doing storytelling is being vulnerable, showing off human emotion, that kind of stuff. Your story only. You must tell your own story and not the stories of others. People would rather hear your story about what happened to you last night than about what happened to your friend Pete last night, even if Pete's story is better than your own. There is immediacy and grit, an inherent vulnerability in hearing the story of someone standing before you. It's visceral and real. It takes no courage to tell Pete's story. It requires no hard truth or authentic self. This doesn't mean that you can't tell someone else's story. It simply means you must make the story about yourself. You must tell your side of the story. And then he goes into back in 1991, I was living with my best friend, Bengi, in an apartment in Attleboro, Massachusetts, that we called the Heavy Metal Playhouse. It was thanks to Bengi that I had a roof over my head. He was attending Bryant University, but decided to live in campus during his sophomore year. I was graduating from high school at the time, and my parents expected me to move out and begin taking care of myself, but I had nowhere to go. I was worried that I might become homeless. While my classmates were counting down the remaining days of high school with great anticipation, I spent much of my senior year worried about where I'd be living after school year ended. Then salvation. On a warm spring evening, while Bengi and I were sitting in the cab of an idle bulldozer on the site of a future grocery store, he asked me if I wanted to live with him. I couldn't believe it. I was ecstatic. There was only one problem. I knew that living with Bengi would be hard because, unlike anyone I've ever met, Bengi was a person who held on to grudges. Cross him in any way and he did not forget. I suspect that was the result of being an only child and not facing the constant adversary that comes with sibling rivalries. Growing up as the oldest of 5, I was awful to my siblings. I made their lives miserable. I tricked my brother Jeremy into believing that the yellow bits in the kibbles in bits and dog food was real cheese and convinced him to eat them fairly regularly. What? That's crazy. I constantly short-sheeted his bed. Short-sheeted. I don't know if that means short-sheeted. Sold his Star Wars action figures to raise cash. What? Locked him out of the house every other day. Jeremy had every reason to despise me. To his credit, Jeremy occasionally enacted his own revenge. When it came time to vote on a new patrol leader in our Boy Scout troop, Jeremy orchestrated a coup that placed himself as the leader position that I once held and left me powerless to stop him. What? For a time, I despised him for making me look like a fool. But when you grow up with siblings, you learn to forgive and forget. You have no other choice. As an only child, Bengi lacked this ability. Instead of forgiving, he would rank his friends on lists according to how he was feeling about them that day, which would make things difficult given that we shared many of the same friends. His inability to forgive made it difficult to be around him at times, sometimes impossible. That's crazy. That's awful. It's like, oh, he did a coup on him. I mean, bro, he sold his action figures? Bro, I don't know what short-sheeted. What is short-sheeted? I've never heard that term before. Fold and arrange the sheet on a bed in a way that anyone getting into the bed will be unable to stretch their legs out beyond the middle of the bed. What? Okay. So you just like what? Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. Okay, so it's basically you fold you basically fold the blankets in a certain way. So when you like, if you have a comforter laying on the bed and you pull it up and you get into the bed, you can't actually put your feet in. All right. I'm gonna be honest. I don't do that. How I make my bed is it's all open, and I just have all my sheets and stuff put off to the side. Like I don't cover my bed with anything. I don't make my bed like that. mostly because I want my bed to be very cold. That's so so I don't that's why I don't get it. Okay. I guess that's not as bad when you like all right, it's just like a little prank. But like making him eat dog food, okay, that's kind of crazy. I guess he didn't make him, he tricked him into eating dog food constantly. That's crazy. All right. Then salvation. One night when we were sitting in the living room of the heavy metal playhouse with friends, waiting for The Simpsons to come on, when things finally came to a head. Voices were raised, heated words were spoken. In a fit of anger, Bengi stormed out of the house and into a downpour. He told us he was going for a run. Bengi was not a runner, and he suffered from paralyzing fear of water. What? He couldn't swim, and he wouldn't even consider going out into the rain without a hat to keep the water from his eyes. What? Yet he was off, hatless and frantic. He left me sitting along with our friends in the living room, contemplating what might happen when he returned. I wonder if Bengi and I might stop being best friends. He was ideal in so many ways, but I worried that his insistence on holding grudges might be the wedge that would eventually drive us apart. It saddened me. I sat on the couch and resigned myself to the idea that this might be the beginning of the end for us. Eventually, my friends and I returned to watching television and waited his return. Less than an hour later, the door burst open, dripping in a dripping painting. What? In a dripping painting, red-faced Bengi entered the house. He looked different, waterlogged clothes and plastered hair, but he was also smiling, really smiling. He looked relaxed. He looked happy. Then walked over to me, bent down and kissed me on the lips. What? What? It was gross. He was wet and panting. Oh, panting. It's panting, not panting. Okay. And hot, and it wasn't a peck, it was a real kiss. His yucky man lips pressed against mine. Then he took a step back and kissed Pat, who was sitting beside me. He moved in to kiss the third guy, but by now everyone was on alert and able to get the hell out of the way. We stared at him wide-eyed, wondering what happened. Something important had happened, something enormous. On that run, Bengi had found a way to let go of every grudge he's ever held. Somehow he had decided it wasn't worth holding on to them anymore. He was a new man. He was a better man. He has been that new, better man ever since. This is Bengi's story of transformation. It was a monumentous moment in his life, a life-altering experience, one of his big stories. When I told Bengi that I had told the story to a workshop full of students, he said, "So you tell my stories now?" "No," I said. "I told my side of your story. It was a story about a friend who saved my life. And yet he was also a friend who I didn't think would be able to be my friend forever because of this terrible hang-up about grudges." Then one night, my friend went for a run and somehow changed himself forever. The terrible part of him went away. He left it behind in the rain. Then he kissed me. I thought it was disgusting, but I also knew in that moment we would be friends until our dying days. "That's a pretty good trick," Bengi said. "You should include that in your book." So I did. Okay. All right. That's crazy. What happened? What happened to Bengi? What happened? Don't tell other people's stories. Tell your own. But feel free to tell your side of other people's stories, as long as you're the protagonist in these tales. My wife and I work with the Voices of Hope, an organization dedicated to preserving the stories of the Holocaust. We work with the children of Holocaust survivors, teaching them to tell their parents' stories. But these second-generation survivors don't really tell their parents' stories. They tell their own stories, dipping into the past somewhere in the midst of them to show how the experiences of their parents has changed their lives too. They share a bit about their parents' histories, but the stories are grounded in the storytellers' lives. The reason these stories work so well is that they are not history lessons or biographical sketches. They're stories of the people telling them. The storytellers are the protagonists. So they're able to bring out their own vulnerability, authenticity, and grit to these tales. There is this woman whose story opens on a living room couch. Schindler's List is coming on television, and she wonders if tonight will be the night when she finally watches the movie. She's Jewish and the child of a Holocaust survivor, and yet she's never watched the film before, mostly because she's worried that watching it will bring the stories of her father into greater focus. Her finger hovers over the power button on her remote control, paralyzed by the indecision. Then she tells about some of her father's experiences during World War II. She explains the horrors he witnessed and the suffering he endured. Then she returns to the couch. The movie's about to come on. Will tonight be the night she finally watches the film? Can she finally bear to witness the horrors of her father's youth? She ends the story by leaving the audience to wonder if this will be the night she finally finds the courage to watch. It's her story, filled with honesty and vulnerability, but embedded with her own narrative in the story of her father. This is the woman who drove to her father's apartment after he had fallen on the living room floor and hurt himself. Waiting for an ambulance to arrive, she searches the freezer for something frozen to put on his back. The freezer is packed from top to bottom with food. Not the lean cuisine, her father yells from the living room. Why is her father's freezer jam-packed with food? He nearly starved during the Holocaust. As she tells about dealing with an aging parent, she dips into her father's experiences during the war, making us understand how his life today is still dictated by the past in so many ways. Then she returns to the present and closes the story at her son's bar mitzvah. Her father, still in great pain from the fall, has made it to the temple despite that pain. A man who once was a starving Jewish teenager in Nazi Germany is now witnessing his grandchild's rite of passage. This would have seemed impossible to that starving boy. Our storyteller talks about how happy she is to have her dad present at such a monumentous occasion. He can have all the lean cuisine he wants, she says. He earned it. She's telling a story about her own life as the daughter of a Holocaust survivor, but through her telling, we learn much about her father as well. Then there is a woman who returns to the concentration camp where her mother was once imprisoned. As she makes her way through the camp, she juxtaposes what she sees on that day with what her mother witnessed during the war. The storyteller is standing at the front of her story, talking about what she sees and feels in the present, but her mother, now gone, is right beside her, casting a long shadow over everything. Each of these storytellers does a brilliant job of telling their own stories, complete with the elements of a well-crafted tale, and yet, at the same time, we come away with a greater understanding of their parents in that terrible period of history. The story is like a diamond with many facets. Everyone has a different relationship to it. If you can find a way of making your particular facet of storytelling compelling, you could tell that story as your own. Otherwise, leave the telling to someone else. All right. So, yeah. So he goes through a couple different examples in this section right here, talking about how he works with his organization that tells these stories about the Holocaust, but he uses that as a way to explain a couple different ways that if you are talking about someone else's story, do so with your own point of view, because his main thesis, as I understand it, is storytelling and talking about stories is about showing vulnerability. It's about showing authenticity. It's about showing grit. And even if you're telling someone else's stories, you have to make it about yourself. Tell your perspective in the story. Otherwise, let someone else tell their own story, right? Because telling someone else's story, it doesn't connect with an audience like telling your side of their story would, because there is no authenticity with telling someone else's story. There is nothing tough about doing that. It's not difficult. Um, like, okay, what can we say? What's a story I could say? Um, okay. So, uh, growing up, I always had access to whatever food I wanted. Whenever I would ask my dad for us to go buy some food or go out to eat, he'd always say, okay. He doesn't have a problem with any of it. And because of that, we were always able to get McDonald's and, these other things. If I wanted sweets, he would say, okay, yeah, we'll get some sweets. And he'll also just buy whatever he wants. He buys food he wants, just whatever he wants. And the reason behind that is because when he was growing up, he didn't have the ability to do that. He couldn't. He has told me the story before of a time when he was younger. He was a lot poorer than his family was. And he would tell me there were times during summer back where he lived where he would go into fields and his family him and his brothers would steal corn out of the field to bring back home, right? And so because of those experiences he had when he was growing up, now he just eats whatever he wants, which he doesn't eat the healthiest food, and I think he should eat healthier. But it's kind of hard for me to argue that point, knowing, that's how he grew up. And so, whilst I personally would like to eat healthier, and I would like him to eat healthier, it's hard for me to come out and say, hey, don't do this. When growing up, he didn't have that ability. He had to just eat whatever. And now that he has the ability, why stop? And obviously, I don't think that's the best story, best way I could tell that story, but it's that kind of thing, right? It's about saying my own personal experiences, and talking about change. Although I don't know. This is getting better at this. How big? Hold on. How big is chapter 3? Oh boy, chapter 3 is big. Okay, we're gonna get through the rest of this chapter, and we'll probably. Oh boy, yeah, chapter 3 is big. Yeah, chapter 3 is a big part. So we're gonna finish this, and we'll wrap up for the day, because I know you're probably falling asleep. Lastly, so the dinner test. Lastly, the story must pass the dinner test. The dinner test is simply this: is the story that you craft for the stage, the boardroom, the sales conference, or the Sunday ceremony, a sermon similar to the story you tell a friend at dinner? This should be the goal. The performance version of your story and the casual dinner party version of the story should be kissing cousins. What? Okay. Different for sure, but not terribly different. What? What is that? What is that reference? That's crazy. It's hard to fall asleep. Okay. Sorry. I'm keeping you awake. It is a pretty interesting book. My friends for sure, but this means that you should not build in odd hand gestures. When I see storyteller mime the birth of an idea with hands that flutter like butterfly wings over their head, I think you would never do that at the dinner table. Why now? This isn't a theatrical production. You're telling a story. This means that when I hear a storyteller say that the purple pansies were particularly pleasant on their plush pillow of purple petunias, I think no one talks like this. This isn't poetry. You're just telling a story. No one would ever have dinner with someone who talked like that. This means that when I hear a storyteller begin their story with dialogue like, Mom, I told you not to look under my bed, or even a random sound like boom, I think I would not eat dinner with someone that started with an unattributed dialogue. Why do storytellers think this is a good idea? Just imagine how this might sound. Me. Hi, Tom. How was your day? Tom. Not bad. Did I tell you about Liz and the dog? Me. Know what happened? Tom. Pauses for a moment, then begins. Liz, I'm talking. Liz, I'm taking the dog for a walk around the lake. The screen door slams as Fido and I run toward the water. Me, check, please. If you wouldn't tell your story at dinner in that way, for goodness sake, don't tell it on stage that way. Storytelling is not theater. It's not poetry. It should be slightly more crafted. It should be a slightly more crafted version of the story you would tell your buddies over beers. When telling a story to an audience, we play a game with them. We pretend we are speaking completely off the cuff. What's this word? What the fuck is this word? Extemporaneous? Hold on. What is this word? I've never seen this word. I want to say extraneous. Extemporaneously? Extemporaneous? Extemporaneous. Extemporaneous. Which is spoken or done without preparation. Where are we at? So we pretend that we are speaking to someone off the cuff. Extemporaneous storytelling. Unprepared and unrehearsed. This is not usually true. While most storytellers don't memorize their stories, and I strongly advise against it, they're prepared to tell them. They have memorized specific beats in a story. They know the beginning and the ending lines. They have memorized certain laugh lines. They have a plan in place before they begin speaking. As a player in the game, the audience also pretends that the story is extemporaneous, off the cuff, unprepared and unpracticed. This is what the audience wants. They want to feel that they are being told a story. They don't want to see someone perform the story. The audience and the storyteller finds space in between the extemporaneous and the memorized. And this is where the best stories ideally reside. My hope is that all my stories occupy this space. If they do, they'll pass the dinner test. The stories that I tell on stage for thousands of people should be similar to the versions that I would tell just for one person. I would be less methodical at the dinner table, of course. I would allow for interruptions. I might be more inclined to offer an amusing observation on the side, but essentially, it would be the same story. This is the dinner test. It will guarantee that you don't sound performancy or inauthentic. It will ensure that your audience will think of you as a regular human being. It'll prevent you from sounding like the occasional Broadway actor who finds his way downtown to the Moth to tell a story, complete with dramatic flourishes and over-the-top vocalizations. We hate those people at the Moth. We also hate people who behave that way in real life. Don't be one of those people. Okay, now you know what a story is and is not. Time to find some good ones. That leads us into chapter 3, homework for life. But we'll finish up there. So that last section, the last section is basically saying it's like you don't want to get don't be over dramatic with the stories. Tell them like you tell someone where you're just hanging out with them. You're having dinner with them. Over dinner, you tell them a story. And if those types of stories work well at dinner, they're going to work well in front of a larger audience. They're going to work well in front of more people. But the dinner test for the story is key. You don't want to add extra random flourishes. You're not writing a novel, right? You're a human being who's speaking to another human, and you speak casually in that way. And That's the dinner test. You're not reciting a book. Ugh. You are talking to another human being. Oh boy. Okay. Um, I think we're gonna finish up there. Yeah, because this next chapter is like, yeah, this next chapter is like one, two. It's like 11 pages, which I mean isn't bad, but I do like stopping, like what we're doing. I stop and we talk about that section because that does also help me understand the section a bit more. I was gonna write the stuff down, but I think this is better. Um, but yeah, so that's like what a story is and is not. Stories are not folk tales. They when you are doing storytelling, you are trying to tell authentic events that happened to you. Reveal vulnerabilities, show change, even if the most minimal change, any change at all, is essential. So showing vulnerability, showing change, um, and not being over dramatic with these stories makes a story. Uh, that this is what I'm assuming. This part of the book is the thesis. This sets up the basic idea for what a story is. Like they said there, this is the thesis for what a story is and is not, and this is going to be expanded on for the rest of the book. I would assume. I got recommended this book. I was watching some videos to try to get better at editing, and I stumbled across this one channel. Called, I think it's this guy's name. It's not a specific name. It's this guy's name. Yeah, I stumbled across a Herman Huang, and they do video editing. But they were doing a live stream. They were talking about video editing, so I asked them the question. I asked them, hey, I want to get better at storytelling this year. Do you have any book recommendations? And this was the first book they recommended. I do have a couple other books. They did recommend a couple other storytelling books because I really wanted to focus on storytelling. And so they recommended me a couple books. This is the first one. So I'm going to go through this one before I bought the other ones. But the other ones are In the Blink of an Eye, a perspective on film editing. The next one is The Creative Act, a way of being. So, hold on, that's right. Written by Rick Rubin. Well, I guess I might pirate that. That guy is not a good guy. And I don't really want to give him money. So I might pirate that one. And so hopefully, yeah. Anywho. Yeah, we only went for a couple hours. I know it's getting pretty late over there, so we'll call it here. Hopefully next Sunday. Oh no, next Sunday. Yeah, I'll definitely be here at 9 because I don't think I'm going to be doing anything next Saturday. Anything that's going to keep me up super late, other than scrolling Twitter. Yeah, I'll just scroll Twitter, and it's problematic. But I just love seeing. I just love reading stuff, right? I love being able to read stuff. And so it's just. So we'll be back. I'll be back Tuesday. We're gonna be playing some more Deadlocked. I don't know. Well, maybe I'll get that Worm and Speech video done. I'll get more done today. I just gotta. I just got to collect the rest of that footage. I have like 18 more things of footage to collect, which should probably take like maybe 30 minutes to collect. Um, and then we'll get that edited, get that done with. I just want to be done with it. I don't want to think about it anymore. I just don't want to. And we'll be back on Tuesday. We're gonna play some more Deadlocked. We're gonna keep losing. Because we were playing. I just keep losing every game, and it's like, brother. And like I could only play a couple games, but that's fine. I don't really have much of a problem with losing. I don't have like overall. I don't have much of a problem in the moment. I don't like it, but big picture, it doesn't. It doesn't really weigh me down. Um, so we'll do that some more, and hopefully get that video done, and we can start making. I do want to do a review on Last Epoch, but it's gonna be a lot shorter. It's gonna be a lot shorter. I would probably try to shoot for like maybe a 5 to 10 minute video, because I feel like I want to get my thoughts out on it since we spent a lot of time with it. And like I was kind of playing it some more last week, but I just don't really think there's much more to the game. Like I think this is it. There's not. I've kind of played through everything. I have a very good sense on the game. I haven't obviously encountered or played with all the mechanics, but I have a good understanding so far of the game. So we'll that'll be that. And then it's February. You know what? This Friday, so this Friday is gonna be the day before Valentine's. What should we do? I kind of want to do some like Valentine's themed. I want to do like a Valentine's themed stream. Maybe we'll play like a visual novel. I'm not sure, because the hard thing is like sometimes visual novels are they can be a bit how do I say this? A bit raunchy. So maybe I'll try to find one that's not. Maybe I'll try to find one that's not. Yeah, if you played visual novels, you know. I do own one, but I do own one, and I kind of have been wanting to play it. I never really, yeah, it's yeah, Dokusei, banging summer, but also, I don't know, maybe because I would like it to have something to do with like romance, since it's Valentine's. I feel like that would. But a lot of time these like they have a lot of like raunchy themes. And I kind of don't. I mean, I personally don't really have a problem with it, but like on stream, I don't know. Right? Maybe. Oh, I guess we could play Persona. I guess we could play Persona, right? So that I guess that technically works, and that's not. Yeah, we could do that. I'll download. I'll get Persona 5, and we'll go, because I already have like a save on that, so we'll just kind of pick that up wherever I left off, and I'll just catch you up to where I'm at, story wise and all that. And we'll go from there, because there's a lot of storytelling in there also, a lot of visual novel stuff, and then because we're listening to Persona 5 stuff now, and so we'll do that. And then Tuesday we'll play Deadlock. Sunday we're gonna be doing. I want to do some sewing. I really do. I'm not sure if I want to do some hand sewing stuff. I'm not too sure if I'll be able to get the required stuff I need. If not, we'll figure out something else to do. I think I have some stuff I need to repair. Yeah, I have stuff I need to repair. I have some like pants that have holes in them. I have my jacket, my main jacket that I wear. There's a couple rips in the lining, so we might go in and fix those. Might go in and fix those. That might be fun. It also give me a good chance to do it. It's an excuse. It's an excuse. It's entertainment though, right? Okay. Anyway, I could. You know me. I could just keep talking here for literally hours. I could just keep sitting here and talking. So we're gonna Anyway, that's that. Another Sunday show done. Another one in the books. Another week done. The month is almost over. Can you believe that? Can you believe that the month is like halfway over already? What happened? What happened? What happened? We're in the second week. Gosh. All right. I'll be back Tuesday, as per usual, around 9 o'clock, 9:30, 9 o'clock. And with that being said, my name is Snowy Lotus, and as always, see ya. See ya. Yeah, goodbye. Yeah, have a good nap. Yeah, you get some good sleep. Have a good work week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.